Hello there. In this video, I'm going to look at 3 Russian photographers who've captured extraordinary work in a country that's largely remained hidden from the Western world. Over 3 decades, Alexi Marakashev has developed a body of work that reflects the fabric of Russian society, especially life in rural communities. His work offers an intimate portrait of the human condition, capturing simple moments of everyday realities. He's a traditionalist in his use of his Leica film camera and his preference for black and white. His way of working on projects is very fluid. He doesn't stick to a specific plan. Rather, he relies on fate, luck, and instinct. For him, the project is over when he feels that he's done enough work, and then he usually produces a publication. Although he delves into themes of faith and tradition, generally his work cannot be tied to a particular era. His images have a timeless quality, and this allows us to become aware of the harmony within the simple moments that he captures. He began his photographic journey by working for various newspapers in his hometown of Kirov. It was these early experiences in photojournalism that laid the foundation for his documentary style. He later relocated to Moscow to build his freelance career, but eventually he went in search of a simpler life. He stumbled upon a small village in the northwest of Russia called Kolodozero. I'm not sure if this is the correct pronunciation. There wasn't anything particularly special about this place. In fact, he says one could find thousands of similar villages throughout the country. But the project became a personal venture for him. He explored the community's resilience and connection to nature. Over 5 years, he immersed himself into life within the village, seeking out quiet, profound moments within the mundane. His work reminds me of essays by Yusuf Gadalka, Cartier-Bresson, and other magnum photographers from the 70s and 80s. His pictures could probably be described as straight documentary, but they do have a magic. He doesn't attach veneers of style or contrived aesthetics to his work. Because of the simplicity of his approach, one gets a sense of his genuine interest and curiosity about the lives of ordinary people. Julia Abzaltdinova photographically explores the search for a contemporary Russian identity. She believes that in modern-day Russia, 3 different mythologies exist. The first is that the Soviet Union was the golden age of the country, while modern Russia is just a stump of the USSR. The second is the memory of the Russian Empire, which inspires the hope of rediscovering the historical glory, and also of re-establishing their ethnic dominance. The third is probably more pragmatic and encompasses the idea that Russian history is ancient and distinctive. Abzaltdinova's first project, The Big Game, was a 6-year visual study that centered on the 2014 Winter Olympics. The transformed city of Sochi had the potential to become a symbol of this new emerging democratic state. But while photographing, Abzaltdinova struggled to recognize a cohesive sense of Russian identity. She focused in on 3 aspects. The first, the spectators, and their attempts to present a sense of a unified identity. The second illustrates the efforts made by the authorities to use the games to manufacture a new Russian myth of nationhood. Her third interest is how all of these public relations efforts impacted the landscape. She's continued to document the changing face of Russia. Her pictures can be critical, ironic, or humorous, as she examines how ideologies and a new wave of urbanization has accelerated change within the country. She says that her work is inspired by photographers like Aleksey and Nadav Kanda. Evgenia Arbugaeva has been recognized for her unique photographs of the Arctic region. She comes from the native Yakut people, an indigenous community that originate from northeastern Siberia. She grew up in a small settlement called Tiksi until she was 8 years old. During the Cold War, it was a military base with a population of about 12,000. It was also a port town filled with colorfully painted homes. When the Soviet Union collapsed, the town experienced a mass exodus, and now only about 5,000 people remain. Life took Arbugaeva to bigger cities, then Moscow, and eventually she graduated from the International Center of Photography in New York. Her initial attempts to make a living from photography were unsuccessful, so at some stage she gave herself 1 year to turn things around. She made the bold decision to leave New York and return to Tiksi, 19 years after her family had left the Siberian town.
Secretly, I was also disillusioned by the idea of becoming a photographer after photography school because it was hard to find a job and get assignments. So when I came to Tiksi, I thought that I'm just going to do whatever I want to do and not thinking about where it's going to go and what it will become and who the viewers are. I just wanted to do it for myself and for Tanya. And I did it for 2 years, and it was a really nice feeling actually to work on something so close to my heart, but also with zero expectations.
Her romantic memories that remain from her childhood didn't match what she discovered in the largely abandoned town. The bright colors of the houses had faded, windows were boarded up, and ships rusted along the coastline. Initially, she couldn't find her way into her photo story until she met a young girl called Tanya, who reminded Arbugaeva of her own life as a kid in the village. Tanya became her guide, and Arbugaeva began photographing from the perspective of a young girl who was curious about the strange and mystical environment. Her pictures seem to have been shot through a dreamlike lens. Even though she's capturing reality, one also senses the presence of faded memories. Her essay could be described as a fantasy autobiography.
And I went on the shore of the sea and was just sitting there kind of crying really because of just this crash of all my ideas of Tiksi and all my memories, because it just nothing matched what I've envisioned. And then I saw this girl, she was throwing stones in the sea and she was there with her mom. I decided to try to see how she feels in Tiksi, how she navigates the town, where she plays, and just try to get into her kind of world. And maybe, because I thought maybe I'm adult now and the adult world doesn't match my memory, so I have to look through the child's eyes.
Her approach wasn't just to shoot everything that she saw. In fact, she rarely carried her camera when she roamed the town. If she discovered a setting that she liked, she would let the scene's potential for a photograph develop over time. She would return again and again at different times of the day, in different seasons, with different moods, and with the hope that at some point the location would deliver a picture that held magic. Within this series, there's an image that she shot in 30 different ways. She took the photographs from the same position, but was waiting for the other variables to harmonize.
We were doing little things like rituals. Now nobody does it anymore in Russia. I was surprised that they do it. It's called Kaleda, when just before Christmas time, Russian Christmas, which is on January 7th, children dress up and they go knock at the doors and tell poems and sing songs and get treats in return, kind of like American Halloween. And in February, the sun starts to slowly come out of horizon, and it colors everything because it's quite low, so it colors everything in this pinkish golden light and color. And it's a very special color to remember because you crave it after a long polar night.
She admits that she can be extremely stubborn. While working on the Tiksi project, she was stretching for a particular tone, one in which the photographs matched her memories. In 2013, she landed her first ever magazine assignment, but it just happened to be for National Geographic. She had photographed mammoth hunters while working on the Tiksi project, and the magazine asked her to return to photograph the people who were searching for the remains of these extinct creatures. She continues to explore aspects of the Arctic region. Sometimes her work requires her to ride 14 hours in a snowmobile, trudge through ice blocks, or wait out storms. During one of her projects, she was photographing the effects of climate change on the walrus population. She was waiting in a wooden shack for the migration of walruses to begin. After a few days, she looked out and found that she was surrounded by almost 100,000 walruses. I'll run some more of her beautiful and mysterious Arctic pictures. But I hope you enjoyed the work of these 3 photographers, and I'll see you next time.
Many people ask me about this, my particular aesthetics, and if it's an intentional, this painterly look. I actually feel that because of the long exposures and because I always have to use a tripod most of the time, I think that also kind of contributed to initially to building my language.